Hey, what's going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Mark. Please remember to slash that like button. And also, I know before you get started, I know there's some people in the back. You got commitment issues, I got commitment issues, but I got a problem that'll solve and remedy all of that. So why don't you just annihilate that subscribe button, and also to keep up to date with me, hit that post notification bell. And if you still have reservations about it, you can still think of this like a swipe left on Tinder, like we doing a YouTube dating process. And also, leave me comments down below. But I think I've talked enough, so let's just jump straight into these videos. Let's go!
Call me Megatron. Shorty's a megacon. It ain't a
Come on, Joyner. I love this visual.
I'm staring at this Bible as I keep glancing. Dear Lord, I got questions and I need answers. Trying to understand your vision, all I see is damage. Just a bunch of dead bodies in the street camping. A bunch of lost souls on their feet standing. We supposed to be your children, I thought we family. You supposed to be my father, bro, I need answers. We don't need to die young, we just need chances. Tired of living on the edge, so we keep scrambling. Trying to talk to these strippers, but they keep dancing. We just want me #1 like Steve Francis. Bow our heads, saying praying out of seas planted.
Come on!
When I turn, I'm seeing MCs vanish. A lot of good niggas gone, I don't understand it. A lot of families lost and they seeds stranded. I ain't trying to disrespect you, I just need answers. I know you watching us from heaven thinking who to save. Cherry picking who should go next and who should stay. I'd be on my way to heaven if I knew the way. And bring back every good nigga you choose to take. They say you're never wrong, but you done made a few mistakes. Cause you taking the wrong niggas, maybe you should trade. Trade us back on the real ones, remove the...
I love that. I love that bar, because the reason why I love that bar is because it really resonates with me, because I used to think like that in a way, like, why are all the good people taken away, but then you feel like all the people who do like the most damage and the most hurt in this world are still walking around living their lives, while all the people who are trying to live their life and live unbiasedly and just walk in the eyes of the Lord sit there. They feel like they have to go through the most hurt. And I used to always have this conversation with my foster dad, because I used to always try to wonder that myself, where I'm like, okay, why is it that people who choose to not want to suffer, who choose to want to live right and live their life right, have to sit here and bear the most crosses and be the sacrificial lambs the most, but yet you have all these other people that be on this whole other bull crap that sit there and want to rob, murder, and do this and live their life unjustly, but then yet it seems like they can just walk and do whatever. I don't know. It's like that's something I used to always grapple with as a kid, and also even into adulthood. So I definitely feel him on that. I like this. This is like poetry. I love this.
Stranded. I ain't trying to disrespect you, I just need answers. I know you watching us from heaven thinking who to save. Cherry picking who should go next and who should stay. I'd be on my way to heaven if I knew the way. And bring back every good nigga you choose to take. They say you're never wrong, but you done made a few mistakes. Cause you taking the wrong niggas, maybe you should trade. Trade us back on the real ones, remove the fakes. I think you should trade. Give us 2 niggas, say that nigga shook. Let the legend resurrect that he gon' live for good. I've been screaming thug life in every different hood. If only you can bring him back, Lord, I wish you would. Give us Biggie, give us Pun, give us Triple X. Take that nigga Trump with you, that's a bigger threat.
Come on, see. Come on. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, right where he's talking about right here. Like right where he's sitting there talking about Triple X, he's talking about Biggie, he's talking about Pac, he's talking about Pun, and then yet you have the devil, which is right here, who's running our country. You still have him walking around. This is what he's talking about, and this is what I was just explaining. Like, come on. Wow.
With no
Come on, see, this is what I was talking about. This is what I am talking about. That's the same thing that I was thinking, like, especially when they had the whole verdict of when Trayvon Martin was, after that whole incident when he sat there and basically was murdered just because for wearing a hoodie and carrying a juice and Skittles and was just racially profiled and targeted. But then yet you have somebody like George Zimmerman who's crazy as fuck, sitting here just walking around, waltzing around, doing whatever he wants to sit there and do. But yet, you're sitting here taking this little boy's life who didn't even get a chance to reach 18, who didn't get a chance to even go to college, who didn't get a chance to sit there and get for his mom and dad to see him get married, to sit there and see him have kids, to sit there, he didn't get a chance to see his son or daughter go to school. Like, you sit there and see things like this, but yet you have somebody like George Zimmerman who's still walking around, who could still see all of this. Or like, take for instance, you can look at people like, oh, we have people like Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King, who was taken away, and then you got John F. Kennedy, who was taken away, and Malcolm X, who was taken away. But then yet we got people like Donald Trump and who else can I think of that's like crazy and out of this world. But you get the picture. Like, you have all these people that should be here that's taken away, but then you still have the people that should be taken away still living and causing chaos and hell on this earth. So it makes you sit there and think, it makes you wonder, like, is this really the hell? Like, and that's why I used to always think, like, maybe earth is the hell and heaven is when you sit there and leave and you don't have to worry about it. And that's something I used to always grapple with and used to think, because to me it just doesn't make sense, and it's hard to process sometimes, because it's like, to me, it's like hell has to be on earth, because I don't feel like it could get any worse than than a lot of the things that we go through, if that makes sense. Wow, this is deep. I love this.
Lord, I hope you hit me right back. They say I'm on the wrong train, I know I'm on the right track. Cause Trayvon Martin only did was try to fight back. Zimmerman walk around free, we don't like that. Why you take our mothers from us? Fathers and our sisters and our cousins from us. Got these children getting murdered while they double dutching. Wonder why the fuck you take Nipsey Hussle from us? Damn, you took a true king, a true brother from us. This a fucking marathon, but they running from us. Now everybody got guns, niggas up to something. And every gangster wanna prove that they tough or something. You know it's not fair, tell the truth. I've been in my feelings too, but if you took every town, at least take Dylan Roof, at least take James Holmes. I ain't even mad at that. Just bring back Whitney and give us Michael Jackson back. Feds want me, and then slam it down. Ain't no justice for Sandra Bland. We up like a Sailor fan. Lord, if you listen, I'm just looking for a hand in hand. Take out the fuck niggas and give us back our fam again. Drowning in my tears, trying to pray for something. Wonder why you give us life for you to take it from us. Wonder why you give us family then erase it from us. Maybe hopefully you can have a conversation with us. Maybe I'm just probably tripping cause I need a hug. The hood can't find jobs, now we need a plug. Everybody and their mama trying to be a thug. I don't go to church cause I'm afraid of being judged. I'm staring at the ceiling as I lie in bed, watching niggas follow trends like Simon says. I pray you give us back the real ones and try again. Or maybe take them niggas that deserve to die instead. Tommy Lauren run her mouth and then she get defensive. Laura Ingram laughing at death and disrespecting. I really feel like you should teach them stupid hoes a lesson. Either that or give us back somebody who deserved the blessings. I left out a bunch of names that I forgot to mention. Cost too much to pay attention and it got expensive. Father, forgive me for I know not what I do, and now I'm reaching out to you hoping you hear me and return the message. I know that you got our back and that you're not against us, or maybe you just love us so you doing shit to test us. I just kinda thought that you would do more to protect us. They say the good die young and I ain't on the guest list. I've been drinking, Lord, forgive me as my blood racing. I don't know what I'm thinking, I'm just frustrated. I don't mean to question you, I'm just confused. I don't know what else to do, I've been patient and it sucks waiting. Took my mans from me, that forever hurts. But putting the blame on you, that'll never work. I know this ain't your fault, it's the devil's work. Devil's work.
And that's imagery right there, Wow. Joyner, you snapped. He snapped. Joyner snapped. He got busy on that. He got busy. That wasn't, wow, that was preaching. Like, if you want to go to church, that's what you want to do.
This is your town.
He definitely got busy. He did better than some pastors get when on Sunday when they sitting there giving a sermon. Wow, that was deep. That was intellectually okay, so let's talk about Joyner Lucas with Devil's Work. I want to sit here and say that Joyner Lucas is such a philosopher for coming up with this. This was so dope, so raw, so creative, so edgy. Like everything about it was like, whoa. Like everything that he was talking about was like straight facts, and he came with it with bar and facts, like bar after bar after bar that makes you think. And this is things that I know a lot of us think about. Like, can't nobody sit there, you will have to be not human to sit there and say you've never felt the same way Joyner just sat here and spoke in this piece with Devil's Work. Like, you would not, like, everybody and their mama can sit there and say that they have had this conversation with God, like, where are you? Like, and it's like, I'm not being disrespectful, but yet you have like all these situations going around, and yeah, I'm a good person, but then yet why am I suffering, and why am I going through these trials and tribulations? Like, yes, God, I love you, I see you, we're here, but it's like, why is it that we still have all this evilness that's surrounding us, but then yet you're taking all the beauty away from us, and then you have all this hurt? Because when you look at it, and I've always had this conversation with my like I said, with my foster dad, where I always will be like, I don't understand how we can live on earth and God maps out our life, and he knows how certain things are going to affect us, but then yet he still lets it happen. Like, case in point, I take this for instance. For example, I always sit there and say, think about the little boy who could have been like me, for instance, because there were times where I'm about to be real raw and real with y'all. I had about like 4 suicide attempts. And my first suicide attempt was when I was 8 years old. And it was when I locked myself in my bedroom and I set my room on fire, because I not only wanted to burn the hate that I have for myself, but the hate that I have for my mother, the hate that I have for my father, and the hate that I have for this world and the people at school, because of all the things I was being subjected to in school. And no kid should ever have to feel like that, and have to feel like they're defenseless inside of a world where they're supposed to be protected and guarded. They always feel like it's almost like you're the king piece in chess, where you're always feeling like you're constantly under attack. And it's like no kid should ever have to feel that way. And it's like, I always was like, well, what is the lesson? What is the point? Like, is my life like is my life the comedian that is speaking to an audience who is too afraid to laugh? Like, that's what I used to think of when I was a child. And it's so crazy, because it's like I always had these discussions with God, trying to wonder, like, well, what is the point of all the situations that I'm going through? Like, yeah, you're sitting here hurting somebody, trying to build them up for what? But then yet you're sitting here having all these other people feeling like they're living these lavish lifestyles. And then I'm like, but then as I got older, I had to come to the conclusion that no, these people aren't living the lavish life. Because if you look at them, they're projecting their insecurities onto you to sit there and make themselves feel better because of the things that they are going through. And I think Joyner did such a phenomenal job with this. Like, this crossed all boundaries. This was like Socrates level, like Aristotle. This was like Plato. Like, this was very philosophical. I love how deep and intellectual he got. I love the abundance of information that he hit with this. Like, it was straight facts upon facts upon facts, bar after bar after bar. And the way he changes his flow, like, Joyner is so dope and intellectually gifted that I just don't think that people get it. And I love how woke he is as an artist. Like, he just gets it. He gets life. He gets situations. He just, wow. And just the simplicity of just being in a church and just walking up and down down the aisle and then going to the altar. Like everything about it was visually great and aesthetically pleasing. Like this crossed all boundaries. And then having the pictures of everybody who passed away, but then switching back and forth between people who he was sitting there talking about that should be taken away, that was completely amazing. I thought he did a phenomenal job with that. Like, I'm like, whoa, like I'm mind blown at how much he killed that. Like, that was dope. Like, that was, I can't even rate that. That was beyond good. Wow. So let me know what you thought of Joyner Lucas with Devil's Work in the comments below. And with that being said, please remember to be safe out there. Remember to stay awesome, be awesome, because you guys are all awesome. This is your boy Mark, and I'm signing off. Deuces. Peace.
They call me Megatron. Shorty's a mega con. It ain't about the race either, it's the marathon.